You're listening to The Kylo Show, the podcast where we talk about how to keep your love on no matter what and why whole healthy families are going to save the world. In this week's episode of The Kylo Show, Danny and Brittany talk about how to not recreate relational dysfunction that may have been modeled to you as a child. So, if you've ever been frustrated by unmet expectations in a relationship, this episode's for you, and it starts right now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kylo Show. We are excited to keep on going with dating and engagement.
We are.
We're
like in the middle of it.
We're still in it.
Here we are.
Which, they're still in it too, which is why they're listening to us.
Hang in there.
We are giving you hope and tools on how to do this well.
Yes. Hopefully it's helping.
Yes, that is really what I hope too.
Yeah.
I think I've heard from others before the podcast that our stuff is helpful for dating.
I am so happy.
So that's
good. We are, at the point of this recording, we are at 10,000 downloads a week, So tell somebody, tell somebody you think, whether you're single or not, or you know somebody that has any kind of relationship with another human being at all, tell them about the Kylo Show.
Yep, please do.
Yeah.
Spread the love.
Super
all right.
fun.
We're going to dive into your normal for this one.
Did you call me normal?
No.
That's not what you
I
meant.
would not say that.
No.
But it's your normal, my normal, our normal as a couple, or you're not so normal that I think.
Or I think I just ran into your normal.
What is happening?
Excuse me. What's happening?
What
here?
was that?
Yeah.
That's usually how this normal gets presented.
It is shocking. It's shocking when normals bump into each other.
We usually say, that's weird. Why do you do that?
Well, that reminds me of a story.
Okay.
That reminds me of when you were just a wee lass in Australia. You were visiting Ben's family in Australia.
Okay. Yep.
And you were on the phone with your mom. And it was.
This was when it wasn't going so well for Ben and I.
No. Well, yeah, that too. But but it was like Thanksgiving or something over there, which they don't have. It might have been Christmas.
I don't remember this one. Keep going.
Yeah, it was a holiday, and you just kept running into things that were so different.
Okay,
and you would say, "Mom, it's so weird," and then this is weird, and this and weird, and your mom says, "Honey, quit calling it weird. Mm-hmm. It's different. Mm-hmm. It's different."
Yes, I think it was Christmas.
Yeah.
We've only had one Christmas over there. Unfortunately, we haven't. We've been near Christmas, but I don't know that we've actually gotten to stay for Christmas just because of all the things. But it was a very new experience for me because
I think you were 17. Yeah, you went over there for a month with this family, and then they all came back.
I think Delaney actually was born. This is where we disagree. Your normal and my normal. We had Delaney, and it was Christmas, and it was hot. I remember that. But there was other times when I was 17 over there too, and other times when Lincoln was born and Addie was born. So maybe there's just kind of running together.
Well, okay. So
this is where we disagree.
So your normal and my normal just ran into each other.
But yes, it was. I think
my memory and your memory just ran into each other.
That's probably what it is. I remember saying that having that conversation with Mom, though, that everything was weird. Mm-hmm. I remember the first time I was in Australia, the ice cream I said was weird. Mm-hmm. The butter I thought was weird.
They didn't have pumpkin pie in a can.
They didn't have so many things that were my normal, which is when Mom said, you need to stop saying weird.
Stop saying weird, honey.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And normal, that was probably the first introduction to understanding that their normal can mean many different things. Mm-hmm. Especially when you're dating, you run into what feels like, family traditions. That's a really great place to have displayed.
Family. Just family.
Family, period.
As soon as you run into their family, which is a great thing to do, by the way. You might want to check out the family while you're dating. Take them up on that. Would you like to meet my parents? Yes, I would love to meet your parents, because you're about to get introduced to where they got their normal and why it's so strong in them. And we don't even know what we think is normal until someone else goes, What are you doing?
We had this just the other day. Someone was at our house, and one of the kids did something. I don't know what it was, but the other kid looked at him and goes, "What are you doing?" And it just made me think of this exact thing, which is it's so easy to think that everybody would do the same thing as you. Why would you challenge that? Why would you do it differently? Which normal isn't necessarily just traditions or how you drive or different things like that. It could be how you communicate, how you pursue connection, how you display and handle conflict. How there's all sorts of breakdowns to how this shows up.
And what respect means.
Yeah.
What man means, what woman means, what love means. All those come with a definition that I learned watching people do it. And I brought that with me to this moment.
Yeah. You and Mom have some pretty big different normals that you brought in.
We do. She was, it would have been she had 6 brothers, 3 of them stepbrothers. I have just one sibling, my little brother. He's 4 years younger, raised by a single mom. And my mom's very passive and very codependent. When I was growing up, she was a very codependent person. And Sherry's mom is very strong-willed, powerful,
Feisty.
outspoken, take you on.
All of 5'2".
All of 5'2", red hair though,
She did.
and so it was full on. And so when we come together, I quickly said, I think you were raised by wolves, and I was raised by ghosts, because my dad was out of the picture at 5 years old and kind of just disappeared, and my mom was very passive, and I kind of felt like I was on my own a lot. And so our normals came together. She came from a upper middle class family. I came from a trailer park, She was very used to having things, and I was very comfortable not having anything. So that was just the beginning. It just went went downhill from there.
So many
it went
things.
downhill from there. We met at church. That's what we had in common. What we
And
had
you were both newly saved.
We were both new to this thing. That's what we had in common. We were both brand new Christians. You know what we should do? We should get married.
And then have a baby right away.
Yeah. Ouch.
Well, you worked it out.
We did. Eventually we did, but we had to grow like the Incredible Hulk. We had to just grow so fast, and it took 15 years really to grow fast. Yeah. And I think, if I would have intervened in this, what I watched, if Mom and I brought our relationship to Danny Silk today, he would say, "Oh, what are you doing? Oh, stop, run away, get out of here." So we did what I would advise other people not to do. It's doable, but it's you know what? It requires the very best that you have.
Yeah.
For a very long time.
Yeah. Ben and I, we came from both 2 saved families. It wasn't at all the dynamic that you guys had.
No, we had 15 marriages between our 2 sets of parents.
Yeah. So we didn't have any of that going into our relationship. We had different normals for sure. Definitely around communication and conflict and understanding needs. I could and still can produce needs much easier than he can. That is still something that is, I don't know if it's because Ben doesn't have needs as much. Like you said that before, that you just don't have as many needs as Mom does.
Yeah, and I think I'm less comfortable being demanding in any relationship, anywhere I am, I'm much more willing to absorb or to accommodate than to arrange my environment.
Yeah. That's definitely the difference of Ben and I in our normal. So we brought that in. We had some good conversations around it, but it still showed up once we were married with kids. You know, that was the Laney was a great challenge for Ben because he got another one of me.
Yeah. And then Addie.
Yeah.
Addie was, that girl. She was taking poor Ben to the mat.
She knew how to whine, that's for sure. If she was not happy, she was not happy. But the normals, the clash of the normals is definitely something to be paying attention to and navigating. Are they deal breakers or are they just different?
And what do you want to build? Like, this is where vision comes in, really, is what's the tomorrow we want to live in? Because both of us, there's some benefit, no matter what, there's some benefit from your life thus far. And there is some strength. And even if you had to just overcome tremendous obstacles, you benefited from all that resistance. So you're stronger than most people. You got some grit, they call it, because you had to face some challenges. If you didn't have a bunch of challenges, you're kind of a weakling. You're kind of a sissy, you know. So it's not necessarily all trash because it was rough. There's a whole bunch of benefit to some that struggle. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. At the same time, there's some things you'd like to have that you didn't. What is that? And how do you build that? And make sure that you have somebody that you're with that says, I want the same thing. You know, I'm looking for that. I'm willing to change my normal too, because when you put two normals together, you get a new one. That's what happens.
How culture happens.
That's what happens, is you get a new one.
Yeah, I remember when Ben and I were married, and I was working on not ripping him to shreds because I was frustrated with him, locking myself in the room because it was the only way that I could keep myself away from him. Not because I was going to erupt on him or do anything dangerous. It was his normal to come and find me, and we have to resolve it right now. We can't have a space to where I can process what I'm thinking so I don't kill you because I want to protect connection. But he needed to mend it immediately, and I had to be okay to communicate. I need space, which eventually we worked out our differences, and now there's lots of grace, and now there's normals, and now all the things are great. But in the early days, I remember so much of trying to figure out how to have conflict in marriage was so different than doing conflict dating. Honestly, because I feel like I didn't show my true cards. There was more things I was willing to hold back because I wanted to preserve this relationship. And we had great resources and great community. So all that to say that the expectation of when you get married that's going to go away or that will be just exactly the same isn't real. You're going to have struggle, tough times, and you're going to fight a different battle than what you've been fighting in dating or engagement. It just, the heat gets turned up a little bit. And
It's just reality comes crashing in.
Totally does.
There's all this reality to deal with, and you didn't know that really until you got together, and you're like, well, this is a whole new level. This is a whole new thing. And but I think that one of the things that we want to incorporate into this is that part of the normal is, how was my relationship as an adolescent with my other gender parent? Because that was the first significant other gender relationship that I had. I learned a ton from that exchange. So if it was beautiful and full of trust and connection and joy, then that's my normal. And so I go look for that. If it was very codependent, I had a mother that I'm rescuing from her pain and her miserable life. I'm the hero. I'm the sunshine boy. I can make my mom smile. Then I think that's normal. So I go look for somebody that's really upset, and I see if my magic works on them. If you had an abusive, disrespectful, put your Kevlar vest on and wear it around the house all day, exchange with that other gender parent, then that's what you're ready for, and you'll go look for that because those are the skills that you have.
Yeah, you got to be paying attention to that.
And so there is some, some things to work out. Just asking, tell me about your other gender experience. So how was your relationship with your dad? He left when I was 15, and I don't really care. I didn't need him anyway. It was like, oh, so you have kind of an empty toolbox around male relationships. And so, boy, this is going to, that means you really don't know how to communicate with a significant male because yours just disappeared. And you didn't know what to do with that pain. You're saying it didn't matter? I don't believe you.
Right. Which is why going and, getting healing and then finding a spiritual father or someone that would help you develop that relationship is really important.
Yeah, having some test runs, and again having good friends, good friends that you can be honest with and will give you good feedback. And because you probably, if you're a girl and your dad left when you were early adolescence, then you don't really know what it means for a man's provision, a man's protection, a man's pursuit of your heart. You don't know what that is. So you're probably willing to connect with somebody who doesn't know how to do it.
And that can be very dangerous.
And it's really a painful experience.
This is why normals, understanding them, figuring them out are crucial. I think having roommates helps you identify your normals too.
Definitely. That's weird. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're practicing, lean into your roommates, and when they give you feedback, have a fun discussion around it. I wouldn't don't run from it. It could be a really helpful tool later on for when you find someone special. All right. Well, we're going to jump into questions now, and so we'll see you soon.
November 30th is Giving Tuesday. What's Giving Tuesday? It's a global day of generosity where people and organizations partner with nonprofit organizations to change the communities and world around them. Loving on Purpose is a nonprofit organization, and the gifts and donations from listeners like you help us to create whole, healthy families around the world. So, this Giving Tuesday, partner with Loving on Purpose by visiting lovingonpurpose.com and click Give Today.
All right. Well, we have our questions, which we love. TheKyloShow.com is where you go to give us questions. So please do that, or give us your testimonies. We love those too. But this first question that we have comes from Sandy.
Hey, Danny and Brittany. Thanks for doing the Kylo Show. I wanted to ask, what would you say to people who think it's important to live together or determine sexual compatibility before marriage?
Yeah, those are the try on shoes before you buy them. Don't buy the cow when you get the milk for free.
Yep, and there's some questions there to what's your biblical belief system that's supporting your agenda or goals and trying on those shoes, so to say.
Yeah, and these days there's really, outside of your life is about living Christ-like and protecting biblical ethics around sexuality. There's really no other reason, you know. I mean, I think the society around you treats you like a fool to not, test drive somebody. But if you're actually living your life to protect the Father's heart and what's important to Him, then it's all about honor. It's all about love and connection to the Father in how you treat each other. And so that would be, one of the key reasons why finding someone that is serving the Lord, dedicated to Jesus,
Yep.
That has similar biblical sexual ethics as you do. And then we talked about the practice of, or the ability to practice Kylo.
Mm-hmm.
Those are elements that that's what we've been talking about over and over and over again. So the reason that you're protecting your sexual purity is really to bring a gift to the other person and to say, I will, as a man, I will bring protection, I will bring respect, I will bring provision, I will pursue you and in this relationship. And that is my covenant to you, to cover our family for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And what she's bringing is, I'm bringing my heart, my devotion, my body, and my commitment to secure this covenant physically. That will be the demonstration on the other side of your commitment. Mm-hmm. Is my offer. That is how you were designed. That's and people don't have a hard time with that. Well, that's a Christian biblical reality.
Which I think if you have that relationship with someone that's living this lifestyle enough to ask questions, that's all that you can do. There's nothing else you can change about the relationship or the things that they're pursuing, mm-hmm. as much as you get to ask if you can be invited into some of the process and maybe give some feedback or challenge to what is it that their goal is and what is it that they want to protect. Mm-hmm. And that's really the only position a friend can make. Mm-hmm. But you should have some really good clarity of what your why is, mm-hmm. and what you're going to be protecting.
Yeah.
Because that pressure is real.
It is real. We've talked about it in this series, that there's just so many things that you can do to undermine your own happiness, your own self-respect, your own tomorrow, mm-hmm. the things that you want to live in, because you participated in things that you don't want in your life, but now here they come.
Here it is, yeah. It is definitely a snowball, mm-hmm. when you start saying yes to that. So don't play with fire unless it's in the fireplace of marriage. Is that how you normally say it? Something like that?
I don't know if I said it that way, but...
it's something about fire.
Fire in the fireplace.
Yeah.
Very much, yeah. You definitely want to put fire in the fireplace. That's why sex isn't weird. Sex isn't creepy or slimy or
shameful.
Yeah, it's intensity, and it is accelerant to a soul tie. Mm-hmm. It's very much vulnerability, and so practicing that, you end up with a soul tie, mm-hmm. and then you end up on the beach by yourself, regretting, what you've given your body to, because there is no covenant. It's gone,
yeah.
And you are hanging out to dry, and it's a bummer. It's more than a bummer. It's super painful.
Yeah. Good question. All right, this next one comes from Wesley.
Hey, Danny and Brittany. Thank you guys for doing the Kylo Show. I just had a question. Is the man supposed to pursue and take the lead in a relationship? And in your opinion, what does that look like? Thanks.
Well, I mean, here we go. We're back to you define it, but the man must be willing to communicate the level of commitment that he is bringing. Mm-hmm. And if that is, I'm wanting to get to know you. I'm wanting, that was a lot of fun. I'd love to do this again. You're setting yourself up to be the one who communicates commitment. And that's your willingness to protect and pursue and provide.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be, so protect, pursue, and connect, if I could put it like that. Those are the man's job for sure. Nail those, guys. You're going to be the one bringing protection, provision, and connection. It's your responsibility. Ephesians talks about husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. That is the standard that men are held to. That's what you hold yourself to, is you will bring the standard of love and covenant and sacrifice to the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that it's the lady's job or somehow she's responsible to do these. No, she's responsible to say things like yes and no. Like, yes, I would like another date. No, I would not like another date. That's important. Like, yes, I enjoy you. No, I don't enjoy you. Those would be some of the things that you're setting her up to be that protected around you. When you don't do what you're supposed to do, it's left out there, and so she does it. And that is a foundation for overextended vulnerability and for you to not bring your strength. And I think that is what a lot of people, in the name of progressive modern society, I think a lot of women especially find themselves overextended in vulnerability, and guys that never knew how to bring it.
Mm-hmm. So to add to that question, now more than ever, I see the independent woman that is, I'm going to pay for dinner. I'm going to initiate. I'm going to ask you for your number. I'm going to tell you. So there is this, I don't know if it's control or freedom or what is the motivation behind it, but that's louder than ever. But how does that affect what you're describing, that the man's responsible for?
I just think it's a delusion. I think that we're training women to to do the man's part and somehow feel powerful, feel equal, feel like that's normal. And it is becoming normal more and more, but it's not
the design.
Yeah, it's not the healthy design. I know the conversation around engagement and wanting to be married, a lot of women who are already sleeping with their boyfriend, kind of doing their half. I don't let him do that for me. I pay for half of that. I think they're trying to convince themselves that they don't need all the stuff they're not getting. But you cannot convince me. When I watch these proposal videos, when the guy actually does bring the ring and he does get on his knee or however this happens, she bursts into tears. Why? Because it is so deeply designed in her for the man to propose protection, provision, and connection. I don't think I've ever seen a proposal where the girl is on a knee or offering the ring. And
I've seen a few.
I have not seen it. And the guy bursts into tears.
No,
like,
I have not seen that part. Yeah.
I was waiting for you. I can't even picture that because it's so twisted in my head as to, no. It's Christ who lays his life down. And husbands, love your wives that way. And cherish and nourish her. That vulnerability that she has is exactly that. You could crush her. You could destroy her. do a great job protecting her and providing for her and cherishing her. That's your job. So don't believe for a second that that's not your job, or you do a terrible job with her vulnerability.
And the vulnerability of a woman is that when you're married, that submission, but it's not this control submission.
Yeah.
It is this beautiful trust that's established. And that is really what the goal is.
Yeah.
Is being able to have that trust established.
And forced submission is an oxymoron, because submission is something I give you. It's not something you take. And unless we're MMA fighters, and you submit me, that's a forced submission. But in relationships, you can't force my submission. You can force my compliance. You can force my obedience because I'm afraid of being punished. But that's not submission. Yeah. Submission is something that I give to you because I want to protect our relationship. I want to communicate support and trust. And I want to be connected to you.
All right. Well, those were some good questions. I love bringing clarity to some of these things that are out there. And I think that these were good ones. So awesome. We're going to jump into our testimony.
Cool.
If you've been impacted by this podcast or any of the Loving on Purpose materials, we'd ask that you consider making a donation to lovingonpurpose.com and clicking Give. Whether you're making a one-time donation or a recurring monthly donation, we'll make sure to steward your gift well to impact the hearts and lives of many. So, to make a donation on Giving Tuesday or any time before that, go to lovingonpurpose.com and click Give now.
All right, so we're going to jump into our testimony, and today's testimony comes from Christian.
Who?
Christian, have you heard of him?
Hey, Danny and Brittany. I'm super excited to do my testimony. Like most people, my introduction to Loving on Purpose was through the Keep Your Love On book. It's the gateway drug, and I bought it to try to skill up and improve myself as a husband. I just love my wife so much and wanted to do a better job. And I thought I was doing a good job. And I read that book, and it was holding a mirror up to my deficiencies and my misguided thoughts and beliefs. And it wasn't condemning or shameful, but it just gave me new targets and a new skill and a new paradigm for how to pursue my wife and how to do relationship. And it's radically transformed our marriage. If you would have asked us if we had a good marriage before that book, we would have said yes, things were great. But this just has taken us to new levels of connection and intimacy that we get to live in every day. And it's amazing. Fast forward a couple years, and I live locally to both of you. So I'm at JC Sacramento, and was asked, my wife and I were asked to be on the DTR team, which is Defining the Relationship, the Life Academy course for pre-marriage to kind of get you ready for marriage. And got to be on a team led by Brittany and Ben, and it was amazing just to be in that environment and to do that with my wife and to learn more about the materials. And I didn't know how I felt about DTR the first time I watched some of the lessons, especially with Danny saying his goal was to help people not get married. Because if someone told me I couldn't marry my wife during that time when we were getting ready to get married, I probably would have fought him. But you learn the heart behind it, and trying to set people up to do the hard work and the important work of becoming a whole healthy person and to take the marriage covenant seriously and what it means. And you love the product of that, of the people who prepare themselves for marriage. And so it's just so cool. And you fast forward another couple of years, and we're now in 2020, and I get a word from the Lord that I need to sow my job and leave, which was super scary because I didn't know where I would go. And I asked my wife, hoping she would save me from that word, because she's the person who keeps our family alive. She thinks of the details and the consequences of actions that I sometimes don't. And her immediate response to me telling her was, you should do it. And so I let my place of employment know I was leaving, didn't know where I was going. And I think it wasn't even less than a week that actually we had been talking about me volunteering at Loving on Purpose. And then next thing I know, here I am. So I've been here on the team, and it's been amazing. It's been about a year and a half now. And it feels like I've just been showered with miracle grow. I'm a personal growth junkie. I think I mentioned that. And so feeling growth and seeing growth in my life is important to me. And I feel like I've grown more in this year and a half as a man of God than I have in the 30 years I'd been living before. And so it's just been amazing. A few examples of that, right when we got on board here, we had some parenting stuff happen with our oldest. COVID was tough on him. He's our extrovert, and it was just a hard time. And he had some new behaviors, and he was acting out, and me and Bree just didn't know what to do. And I was relying on my skills that were handed down to me, which was intimidation and rage monster. And I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. And I know that I wanted to change. And, being around Brittany and Ben, and who even came to the house and helped us with some stuff and just set us up to have different goals with our relationship with our boys. And, gave us some tools, but ultimately just set us up for staying connected with them and for loving them well. And now, things are going so great. So I'll end it with just how much loving on purpose has helped me become a man of God, becoming a powerful person, choosing love over fear, practicing the goal of connection, respectful communication, and healthy boundaries. These are all things that have just been saturated in me and now are, manifesting in all the areas of my life. And it's fun because now they're just kind of popping up without me having to choose it, because the work's been done on the inside of me and is continuing to be done on the inside of me. So just thank you so much for all that you do. You're showing people the Father. You're giving heaven's blueprint for a healthy relationship, and it's life-changing. I know it's changed mine. Thank you, guys. Love you a whole bunch.
And we love you, Christian.
Yep.
He's a major contribution asset to our world.
Yep.
As well.
He's been a really fun addition to our
Yes.
team. We grew so much with the males in our team than we've ever in the last year and a half.
I know we're coming on strong. I've been outnumbered for a very long
You
time.
have been so outnumbered. Christian was the first, I think, male that I've ever worked with at Loving on Purpose. I don't think
did you work with Aaron?
I didn't.
Oh.
No, I didn't work for you yet then.
Oh.
So Christian's the first one that I've been working with, and then obviously Ben. I guess Ben's the first one, but he just finally came on to the team. So, but Christian is a massive, massive help.
Yeah.
And Ben and I first met him doing we were serving on the greeters and ushers team at JC, and that's how we first got to know him, and then invited him to be part of our team for DTR, because he's a growth junkie, like you said.
Yeah.
He was talking the language, and we were paying attention in our meetings.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, it's just fun to watch someone's journey up close and personal, and watch the kind of the pennies fall. The pennies drop. There you go.
Yeah.
My UK friends. Everything went pear-shaped, and then the penny dropped. I love those two. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what that means, but
yeah,
good things. It means good things.
yeah. Penny drop means aha! I got it.
Oh,
I got it.
great.
And watch Christian and Bree just get all the stuff and really fast.
Yeah. They've been so much fun to have as an addition, and all, like they said, the boys, just walking with them and being invited and trusted to give hope and skills to view things differently. It's, Lincoln loves their boys too. He loves having some boys that are not his sisters, Boys are just different. They're out running around chasing things in the field, making.
It's true. He
loves it.
He's different with the boys.
He is different with the boys, for sure.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I think the things I enjoy the most watching Christian just apply all this is how he just approaches his family from the heart of the Father. He's really getting who the Father is, and then he's filling the role that he has in his family just so well. I'm just impressed with his strength and his honor and love towards his wife and his boys. It's just very fun to watch.
And even how he speaks about his extended family
Mm-hmm.
and his pursuit towards keeping his love on in some really hard family dynamics.
Yep.
And getting to hear that and watching restoration that's happened
Mm-hmm.
and watching him lead in what love looks like,
Mm-hmm.
whether they're saved or not. He's modeling the Father to them, and he's been representing all of what Kylo stands for in all of those relationships as well.
Yeah.
And he's found so much fruit, and it's been fun to hear the stories of
Yeah.
just love flowing all around him.
Yeah. Fun stuff. Fun to watch, and just thankful to have him around. He's been a great addition.
He definitely feels like a brother in the office.
Yep.
I won't lie.
Yep.
There's lots of pranks that have happened.
It's true.
More than ever.
Yep.
And,
And he's learned what a birthday is around here.
he's learned how to be celebrated well. We do birthdays really well here. That was actually our introduction to him being part of the team. I think, he got hired right in the middle of the shutdown, so no one was really around anyone for a little bit, and then we started coming back, and it was like July, his birthday, so we went all out for him there, and it was beautiful.
It was fun. It just wrecked him.
It did wreck him
In a good way. Yeah.
which all of us ladies were like,
Yes.
we won.
Touchdown.
Yeah, it was great. Well, if you haven't figured out who Christian is, he's the guy that does all of our ads and bits in between.
Yeah,
So you've heard his voice many times.
Yep.
And he's a good, very quality human for
Yep.
sure. Loving people well, living out this message.
Yep. This feels like an affirmation circle.
He probably will listen to it a few times because he does love. He's not shy of like, tell me how awesome I am. Christian, you're awesome.
You are awesome, buddy.
And we love you.
Yeah.
Well, way to be an example of what a whole healthy family is, Christian. You're doing a good job. And to everyone out there, keep pursuing that and chasing after, doing a good job, being single until you're dating and engaged, and keep doing a good job there. And we will see you later on the next Kylo Show.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to join us next week when Danny and Brittany talk about the differences between men and women and how they become one in marriage. Never miss an episode of The Kylo Show by subscribing to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watch us on the Loving on Purpose YouTube channel. Make sure to submit your questions and testimonies to thekyloshow.com. The Kylo Show is produced by Ali Armerding, co-produced by Ashley Beck, Leah Alexander, Anna Hill, Sherry Silk, sound engineer and edited by Taylor Silk, and show promoter Christian Zamora. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.